Hey Adventures, so today I'm going to do a reaction video to the new The Lord of the Rings of Power teaser trailer. I haven't watched this yet, so it's been out for a couple hours now. By the time you're watching this, I'm filming it on Sunday evening. You'll be watching it on Wednesday at the earliest, so most people will have already done all their breakdowns and everything. So I don't think I'm going to try too much to do a breakdown, plus I don't think I can do that much of a breakdown because I don't think I understand anything about it well enough. But I will be giving my thoughts, my initial reaction, and see if I can kind of talk through some of my feelings about this show, about the various art and all the stuff that they've released, the posters, stuff like that, that I know about, that I've actually read through. I haven't read all the articles or anything like that, but I have seen the pictures and I've seen other people been talking about it, and I've interacted with other people and stuff like that. So I'm gonna kind of go through a little bit of my thoughts and feelings about the project as of right now. Of course, okay, we'll start it this way. Everything that I have seen so far, I have really liked. I thought, okay, this looks good. Well, I shouldn't say I really liked. I haven't had an issue with so far with just what I have seen. Some of the things I've read, a little bit less of, or a little bit more of an issue. Overall, on this project, I'm terrified that it's not going to be good. My reasons for being so scared is because of the Wheel of Time adaptation, which is much the same reasons why everybody else has. That's not the only reason. I've got other reasons. Just the way that Hollywood is right now is a big reason of why I'm a little bit scared for this adaptation. But overall, as much as I'm terrified, I'm still very hopeful that it will be as amazing as it should be, and as I think it can be, and as I hope it is. With that, we will get into the trailer really quick. I think it's about a minute-long trailer, so we'll see what happens. I don't know how to do a reaction video like this because I've never done one before, but we'll see if I can figure it out. Alright, here we go.
Haven't you ever wondered what else is out there?
Nice.
There's wonders in this world beyond our wandering. I can feel it.
That person looks like, I mean, it must just be some sort of headdress, but it looks like some sort of horns, which is, there's no horned people in Lord of the Rings. For the king. Okay, interesting. Fellowship. Okay, before the ring. Interesting. Okay. That's a big hand. Okay, so some things that I am a little bit confused by, some things that I noticed. We'll go back to the beginning and just kind of go through it scene by scene, I guess, and see what I think. Let's get into this. Okay, so there's people on the this bridge here. There's a boat going into this harbor. My immediate thoughts of it feels, or it reminds me of the Grey Havens, which this shouldn't be, because I guess the Grey Havens should have been established at this point in the timeline, I think, but I'm not positive about that. But as we continue going, we see this big statue, and there's a mountain behind it as well. Okay, so this is most likely, yeah, this is most likely somewhere on Numenor, that mountain being the big mountain on Numenor. So, yeah, okay, that architecture looks good. I mean, it's just very pretty, very medieval-ish, and that, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Numenor, even though lots of people think of it as this much bigger, this much more advanced society technologically, and there is some of that. It's not necessarily like a sci-fi society, but it is a more advanced in just the way that some things work, the technology that they have, I don't know how advanced that means. I don't think it was like a sci-fi landscape at that point, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. It looks pretty, and it looks accurate to most of the images and drawings that we have from Tolkien himself and from the various other artists. The dialogue that's being said, there's wonders in this world beyond our wondering. That's good. Like, yeah, there absolutely is. These people, I don't know who they are. I think they're just two hunters or something that are carrying these massive antler racks, and it's an interesting image, and I kind of like it. We'll see what it actually means, or if they even explain what it means in the show. I already mentioned this with the horns coming out of this character's head. I don't think it is. Seeing it now, it looks like there's some sort of beads. It's like a crown of some sort, but we'll see as we continue going. Before the king, obviously. So this is a big waterfall. Okay, so I think I know what this is implying. So in the there's a lot of history with elves going back and forth from Arda and the Undying Lands. I can't think of what they're called at the moment, but the two, there's quite a bit of time. So the elves, let me see if I can remember this. The elves awoke on Earth, or on Arda, Middle Earth, the Middle Earth that we know, and then they came across the ocean and to the Undying Lands, and lived in that for a long time until basically most of the events of the First Age have to do with the elves in the Undying Land and the elves in Middle Earth and how they interact with each other. So that makes sense with what we're doing. So the Galadriel at first goes to the Undying Lands. They're not, I don't think they're called that, and I wish I could remember what the name of them is off the top of my head, but it's not coming to me. So she goes there, and then eventually she comes back, and I believe on her way back she does not cross on boats like she went, but her and the rest of the people who went with her and the person who led her, is her father or brother, I don't remember which one, and when it's one of the Finrod or Fëanor, one of those characters, and I can never remember who they are because there's so many that are just F names, and I can't remember who's who most of the time. I'm not nearly as deep into this lore as I could be, or as I should be. But anyway, so they come back across on an ice bridge that's up at basically the North Pole, and ties the two lands together. And so they cross back across on that. They run into lots of troubles during that time. A bunch of them die, a bunch of the elves die as they're coming back. But this is what that looks like. This waterfall, or maybe an avalanche, is what it looks like. But looks like where we're at. This, I believe, is Galadriel. So you can see the stars, which we've already seen in some of the other imagery for her. We also see in this dagger before in one of the promo images, and that's very clearly Laurelin and Telperion combined into one dagger. It's a very pretty dagger, to be honest. I really like the look of it, but as she looks up, I believe that's the actress. I don't know for sure, I can't tell for sure, but it looks to me like it's the actress who plays Galadriel, young Galadriel, in this show, and that her name is, I believe, Morfinn Clark, something like that. I'll have it on the screen here. Let's continue. So I guess I should say this, if that is them crossing back into Arda, that's very interesting, because this is definitely not how I imagined it, or how it's even described, but it definitely shows the hardships of that what that crossing would have been like. So I don't hate it. It looks like it's going to be a bit too action hero-y for what it really was. In reality, it was horror and elves dying and lots of stuff going wrong that shouldn't have. lots of stuff going wrong. So yeah, but the star images on her shoulders, I think it's a her. I'm assuming it's a her at the moment. I'm assuming it's Galadriel. I can't tell for sure because I don't know the actress's face, but that's what it looks like to me. We'll know more as obviously when the show comes out. But the stars are very clearly similar to much of the other stuff that we have seen, much of the other costuming that we have seen. Let's continue. Before the Fellowship, obviously. Okay, let's see if I can get that boat to come up. Let's see. So, we can't really see. It looks like maybe a raft, which I'm suspecting is probably the raft that we see the images of Galadriel, and I don't remember what the guy's name is because he's a character that they made up for the show. I don't remember what his name is, but that's what it looks like, is maybe that raft. If not, it's a boat. It could be any number of boats, possibly even, I don't see it as very likely, but it's possible that it is the boat of Erendil, and the mariner, basically Elrond's father, and it's possible. I don't see that as likely. It looks more like a raft to me. Oh, sorry, missed this. Let's go back right here. So here's the boat. There's that raft. I'm assuming that's what it is. I think so. There's the sail in the corner there. So that's what I'm thinking it is. Here's this human character. I'm assuming he's probably a Númenórean. Just assuming that based on what we know about this show. It looks like he's got a chest of special belongings here. I don't know whether that's jewels or gold or what this is, but that's, let's see. Here's this, I don't remember what he's being called at the moment, but it's this elven character or half-elven character, or maybe I don't remember. I've read different things now. Half-elven huntsman type character. I can't think of I wish I could think of all the terms that I would want to, but this very common imagery for archers is that they can catch an arrow, spin it around, and instantly shoot it back. It's fine. It's a very action hero type thing. I think it's kind of cool, but it depends on how they do it. So that's what he's doing right here. You see him, he catches the arrow before it lands in somebody. He's clearly got the pointed elven ears that the Peter Jackson movies made so prominent. They aren't actually in the books. But then he grabs it and he's shooting it back. I'm not going to critique his bow hold at the moment. I didn't see enough of it, and I'm not an expert on archery, so I'll leave that to Mari or someone else. That's interesting. What is this golden, this flaming, maybe a dragon or something of that sort, or maybe it might be a catapult. Yeah, I don't know enough about that. We'll see what that means. This elf, I'm gonna hazard a guess that it's not supposed to be Círdan, and the reason why is because he's not got a beard, and Círdan is known for being the only elf with a beard. So I'm gonna hazard that guess and say he's probably not Círdan. It could be Gil-galad or one of the other important elven characters. I can't tell. Looks like he's got a ring on. He's got some of that golden clothing that we've seen images of before. It doesn't look like the same clothing, but he's very clearly an elf. Who? I don't know. Where? Probably Tyrion. Oh, I guess it could be Finrod or Fëanor, one of those other characters. One of those other characters that I don't remember who all is who. Really showing how little I know about the lore of Middle-earth here. But let's continue. Okay, so there's Galadriel riding on a horse again. That horse looks rather short, but that's whatever. Galadriel in her full armor, which I've heard people talk about how they don't like Galadriel with armor because she's a sorceress. She's got all these magical abilities that are very different, and she wouldn't need to use the armor, or they don't want to see her using the armor because that diminishes her power type stuff. And at the moment I'm neither here nor there. It looks like she's kind of leading the battle, which she wasn't really ever a leader of armies in that same way, although this is at a time where she doesn't have a lot written about her, so if they explain it, I'm not going to be too mad at it. Of course, the landscape looks beautiful because it's New Zealand, but yeah, you can't really tell a whole much about it because it's just horses riding. I don't know this character, although that's very interesting. I'll get to that monster in a moment here. Let's see, will you clear this up? I can't tell. This almost looks like that same character from the beginning that we saw with the, which this one is very clearly a male, so it may be a different character altogether. May not even be elven. It looks elven to me, but the armor is very clearly damaged. You can see on the head, on the forehead there, it's missing some links. Looks very tattered and worn. Can't tell a whole lot. Looks like he maybe has a bow on his back there. I can't tell, but I can't tell enough about it, and I definitely don't know who this is, but it doesn't look like Galadriel in this image. This creature, I can only guess that it is my first guess is it's some sort of troll. We've heard of several different types of trolls, so it's very possible this is some sort of troll. We definitely do know that the trolls are a corrupted imitation of Ents. They are a weaker version of an Ent, basically created by Sauron and Morgoth and Sauron to, primarily Morgoth, to be a counterfeit to the Ents, to be something that's strong and powerful and terrifying, but because it's just a corruption, it's not nearly as powerful as the original. There's lots of lore about the Ents and quite a bit about the trolls as well. I'm guessing that's what this is, but there's some other creatures. I don't think it's a Balrog. It doesn't look like a Balrog to me. It's not fire and shadow that we know all Balrogs are. So I don't think it's a Balrog. It might be one of the, and there's a phrase, can't remember the exact phrase, and I didn't know what I was getting into when I was watching this, but there's a phrase about the creatures deep beneath the earth that have never seen the light of day, that delve in places far below anywhere the dwarves have been. There's this whole moment about this. I believe it's in the Mines of Moria chapter, but it might be at a different, it might be the White Rider chapter, where we see Gandalf retelling his story about what happened in after he fell in Moria. So I don't know what this is for sure, but I would guess it's a troll, but it could be these other dark creatures, deep creatures, whatever they're called, and I'll get the name and put them up here for you. Let's continue real quick. A new legend begins this fall. We saw just a forest and a waterfall. Where's it at? Just a little bit further back. Okay, let's see what we can see. There's people talking. Almost looks like maybe. Okay, I'm gonna say this is on Numenor. This is some looking at the white clothings of the characters that are hidden there kind of in the background. That's what I would guess, is that this is Numenor. This is the rulers or the kings of kind of like the parliament, I guess, of Numenor. I don't specifically remember something like that, but that's kind of what I'm guessing. It does look a little bit elven, but at this point the Numenorians would definitely have a very advanced, very beautiful style of architecture and all that stuff. It does look elven, especially being surrounded with all the trees and everything, but it could be Numenorian just as easily, and I'd almost say it is Numenorian. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people hiding back behind. I don't know, this could be elven as well. This could be back in the Undying Lands too. I really can't tell enough about any of these images. So far I'm not recognizing anything specific that tells me, oh, this is where this is at. And then we see this dwarf, which I believe they have said is Durin the Fourth, which at the time that this show is supposed to be set, the Durin of Moria is Durin the Third. I don't remember who. I believe I got this heard that from Nerd of the Rings YouTube video. I'm not positive about that. It may have been somebody else, but I heard that from somebody, and so this is a dwarf. We do know his name is supposed to be Durin, and he is in Moria. So he may not be in Moria in this specific scene, but he's the leader of Moria at this point, Lord of Moria, I guess, and is Durin the Fourth, but at the correct timeline, it should be Durin the Third. Lots of stuff going on with that. We'll see what happens in the show about it. Then we see, this is Elrond. I don't know what he's got in his hand. It looks like some maybe scroll or something. I can't tell what's going on in the background. I believe, I mean, maybe this isn't Elrond. It looks like him. Yeah, it's got the elven ears, so I'm going to say it's Elrond. Got some interesting looking armor, a bit wood. It's got that image of wood. Looks like it's made out of wood again. Can't see enough about it. This is the Dwarven Princess is what she's called. I don't remember much else about it, but she's a Dwarven Princess, and that's really all I can say. I will bring up the fact that Dwarven women are supposed to have beards. Everybody else will also bring up that fact. I would prefer that she had a beard, but I'm not gonna just be very, very angry that she doesn't, because I understand exactly why they did it. This again is, oh, what's her name? This is Galadriel lifting the ears, or lifting the hair to show her ears. This is on that raft with the human. Looks like they're gonna have some sort of, I don't know, I really hope it's not a romantic relationship, because it shouldn't be. I mean, she's already married, should already be married, or at least have met Celeborn at this point in the timeline. This is interesting. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of strange to me. Okay, he's not naked. Looks like he is, but it's, I can't tell. Looks like maybe, I'm gonna guess it's two men. Doesn't look like dwarf, but it could be dwarves. Fire all around them. Something is burning. I don't know what. Definitely can't say definitively anything of what this is, but it looks kind of, it's an interesting image, and I'm not sure that I like it. We saw more of it from just from a different shot. Where's that go? Right here, just a different shot. I really don't know what this is or what it could be. Who knows? For all I know, they could be doing something on Mount Doom, which they shouldn't be, but you know, whatever. That was a, oh, come back to this. This is clearly dwarves. We see 4 dwarves here, one of them splitting a rock. Okay, it's very, very dwarven. This guy's got a big horn. Interesting. Wonder what that's going to be about, if anything, or if it doesn't matter. This is clearly that elven character again, leaping off something with a big axe that would be way too heavy to wield. Shadiversity has gone over all this stuff, and I'm sure several others have as well. But he's leaping towards something. I can't tell what. It looks like there's people underneath it. The elf character has also got a chain around his leg, meaning he's probably been captured somewhere. I don't know anything about what that means. This image, I don't know what it means. It looks like elves battling orcs. That's what it looks like to me, is elves battling orcs. When or where this could be, it could be so many places. It doesn't look like Elrond though. That doesn't look like the same actor who plays Elrond. He's also got different hair. So, I mean, obviously I can tell that it's raining and his hair would be different, but it looks shorter than the other pictures we've seen of Elrond. And then this is interesting. Of course, this could be a child's hand. Absolutely could be a child's hand. But it looks like a woman's hand with a much bigger male's hand, which implies that it could be a Valar, which would be very interesting, and I'm very interested to see what they do with that. I already had some theories that we could see some Vala in this. Just some of the imagery that we're seeing looks a little bit more powerful, a little bit more godly, I guess, if you want to take it that way, than the rest of what we're seeing. So it could just be a man and a young person. but you can clearly see the size difference on the hands. It's a big focus on the hands with this show so far, which is interesting. Makes sense because it's the Rings of Power, but big focus on the hands. We'll see what that means and what it has to play at. The other thing that a lot of people, because we've seen the posters with this character who's got this weird knitted shawl thingy, and so we've seen images of that character already. And one of my, well, not so much mine, although I've definitely thought of it, but I've heard lots of people saying, oh, this maybe is Tom Bombadil. Might be. I would not be opposed to seeing Tom Bombadil in this show, but we will see. It doesn't really look Tom Bombadil to me, but maybe. We'll see. But yeah, definitely a big hand. And then Lord of the Rings of Power, September 2nd. Did they bump that up? I thought it was September 22nd. Yeah, I thought it was September 22nd. Anyways, so that's really all we've got on that teaser trailer, which is interesting. Okay, so if you were on the Discord, you'll have seen my message that I mentioned about basically the second half of this video getting deleted. So now I'm re-recording what I already recorded. This is the thoughts and fears section about the show going forward. So we'll start with my thoughts on the trailer, I guess. So I guess I should mention this. I don't remember all the things that I talked about when I recorded that first section, or the video the first time. I don't remember what all I talked about, and so I don't think that it will all get talked about again here, and I am kind of annoyed with that, but it is what it is, and I'll continue with what I can remember that I talked about and that type of stuff. Basically my thoughts and fears about this show going forward. So thoughts on the trailer and really all the promotional stuff that we've seen so far, whether that's posters or the title reveal or anything like that. So far what I have seen, nothing that I have seen has given me too much fear that it's going to be horrible. That fear comes from other things, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but everything that I've seen as of this point, I haven't necessarily loved it all or thought it was incredible, but there is a lot of it that I don't dislike. I think the armor looks good. I think there are some issues with it, but not a lot. For the most part, everything, the costuming design, the trailer, the footage in the trailer, it looks fairly good. I don't so far have an issue with that. The parts that I might end up having an issue with are things that I suspect Amazon will try and do that are contrary to the vision and the themes that Tolkien would have written. I should get this part out of the way. There's a lot of people that are getting frustrated and getting annoyed with the fact that basically there are black elves and black dwarves. I can reconcile. First off, I don't care. That's fine as long as it fits with the story, as long as it fits with the traits of the characters. So it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Plus, I can, within what Tolkien has written, I can reconcile it and be like, this is how you could explain it. Whether or not Amazon will, I don't know. But so super simply with dwarves, dwarves originally came from stone. Stone has a bunch of different shades and a bunch of different colors. The dwarves can look like whatever, and I'm fine with that as long as they look like dwarves. My biggest issue with the female dwarf in this show at the moment, and that's without knowing her story or anything like that, is that she doesn't have a beard. I don't expect female dwarves to look like male dwarves. I expect there to be more feminine aspects to them. I don't expect them to look completely different. I do expect them to have a beard, and I expect them to be a little bit smaller in frame, slighter in frame, but not really a whole lot. That's what I expect to see from a dwarvish woman. So again, my issue with this dwarven princess lady is that she doesn't have a beard. That's really the only issue that I have at the moment. I understand more than likely why they didn't give it to her. They wanted us to know for sure that it was a dwarven woman. That's fine. They also wanted to show the actress's face more for whatever reason. Maybe it was in the contract, I don't know. Those are really the two biggest reasons why I could see why they decided not to give the actress a beard, or the dwarf woman a beard. I don't know. Anyways, onto the black Sylvan elf guy. I don't care. because when Tolkien describes elves, he describes them as having fair features, or fair skin and fair features. He doesn't specifically say that they're white-skinned. Fair, although primarily used as a synonym for white, does not, when referring to skin color at least, does not necessarily mean white. Fair has to do with being not harsh. So if the actor who is playing a black elf has harsh features, same with a white elf. If they have harsh features, they should not be playing an elf, because that's not what the elves of Tolkien's world look like. But there's nothing wrong with dark skin as long as it's not harsh. That's kind of a strange thing to say, kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you can understand the meanings of the words and understand that fair does not equal white. Fair is a description, not a color. So that's really all I can say about that. So again, I can reconcile in my own mind how this could happen and it doesn't cause any issues, plus I don't care. If they cast the characters, if they cast black characters in the show specifically for the sake of having black characters, then, and not because, let me phrase it this way, and again it'll sound kind of bad, but I hope you can understand what I'm trying to get at. There is only really one wrong reason to cast black people, black characters or Asian characters or whatever in a role, and that is specifically, at least in Tolkien's world, and other things it doesn't matter, and that is specifically to meet an agenda, to push an agenda of some sort, to push diversity for the sake of diversity. Anytime you are incorporating an agenda into your story, you're going to ruin your story. Tolkien's world is never about agendas, it never has been. There are themes, yes, but not agendas. So you need to make sure that you are not forcing agendas into this TV show, and if you are, it's not going to work. It's going to fail epically, like everybody is saying that it's going to. I don't know that it will. I am still fearful, and we'll get to that in a little bit later. But at the moment, if you are forcing your agendas into the show, you will ruin the show. And that's one of the things that I'm scared of with Amazon. Actors that aren't white, sure, I don't care as long as it makes sense, and the reason that you should cast a character is because they are the right actor for the role. That's the biggest thing. When you audition somebody, you are looking for the best person to play this role. That has to do with acting ability, that has to do with what they look like, that type of stuff. But it shouldn't be specifically, oh, we need a black actor for an elf because so far we haven't seen a black elf. No, that's not how things work in Tolkien's world. If this actor is the perfect person to play this role, if he just came into the audition and just absolutely killed it, good for him. That's why he should have been hired. I don't know if that's the case, I don't know if that's not the case, but that's where I'm coming from. Cast the best person to play the role, and it'll be good. On to the agendas thing just a little bit more, and tying into the fears with Amazon. So I did not like Wheel of Time TV show. The Wheel of Time TV show really failed, in my opinion, at adapting the Wheel of Time. I've only read books 1 and 2 at this point, but still I did not think it was done well at all, and Amazon made the Wheel of Time, and Amazon is also funding the Rings of Power TV show, and so there is that connection that gives me fear. I completely understand that the cast and crew and writers and all the people and everything on Rings of Power are different than on Wheel of Time. I'm still scared and I'm still terrified that Amazon, being who they are, is going to attempt to push whatever agenda it is that they want to push, whether it has to do with politics that are going on in the world right now or whatever it might be. I don't want to see that, and nobody else does either, except maybe Amazon. And if Amazon is going to do that, it will ruin the show, for sure. The show will not succeed. If they want to tell a great story, and that's all they care about is telling a phenomenal story, then the show hopefully will be phenomenal. So that's really where my biggest fears come from, is the fact that Amazon made Wheel of Time, and Wheel of Time was horrible. In my mind, a lot of people love it, and if you do, that's great. I did not love it, so I'm scared that Amazon will also not make a good Tolkien show, which the works of Tolkien are my favorite of anything. So that's really where I'm at right now. I don't have a whole lot else to say. I hope this kind of made sense, and I hope it kind of went through what I'm thinking about a little bit and how my mind's working a little bit. I don't remember if there was anything else that I wrote down that I needed to talk about, but we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with this show, covering more of the information and stuff like that, and breaking down the episodes and whatnot as best I can. I will be doing a lot more reading of Tolkien's works in order to better understand what I'm getting into, specifically within the framework of the Second Age. So I'll be doing things like Unfinished Tales, stuff like that, and then going through as much of the histories of Middle-earth as I can. It's just to see, I would like to get to the nature of Middle-earth as well. But I'm going to be preparing as much as I can for this TV show so that I can be the best informed that I can be for you guys. I'm not going to be perfect. There's if you want better, more accurate information from people who specifically focus on Tolkien's works, I recommend Men of the West and I recommend Nerd of the Rings. There's several others out there. Those are the two that Men of the West is the one that I primarily watch. I have started watching a little bit more of Nerd of the Rings recently, specifically around all the information about the TV show, and they're really good as well. So those are the two that I recommend. There's plenty other ones, including people like Daniel Green. Daniel knows a lot about Tolkien's works as well. He also knows a lot about fantasy stuff, so it's a great resource. Captured in Words is another great resource. He'll be doing quite a bit of stuff on this show too, as I imagine. So there's plenty of resources around, but I hope that I can bring this different perspective to this show of somebody who just wants to see a great TV show that fits with the themes and vision that Tolkien would have created. So if that's what I get, I'm gonna be happy. I don't really care about the budget. I don't need the massive budget. I just want a good story that feels like Tolkien. So thank you guys for watching. Like I mentioned, or like I always say, we post videos every Monday and Thursday, and when I have adaptation stuff, it will be on Wednesdays, even if the trailer comes out on a Sunday. It's just gonna be how it is for me. Please like and comment and subscribe and all that stuff if you haven't already. We do have our social medias, including our Discord server, down in the description, and I am very active on Discord. I use that oftentimes as a place to share my thoughts and my feelings in the moment and deliver information to people who haven't gotten a chance to look at it yet. So if you want to join that, we'd be happy to have you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys again soon. Stay well.